warm welcome to you anywhere around the world and here in Nigeria. This is Nationwide. We're live in Abuja. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. The federal government's efforts in the health sector is gaining more support as the Gates Foundation says Nigeria will remain prominent in its humanitarian programs, particularly as it targets to end malaria in the country within the next 20 years. Co-founder of Microsoft and co-chair of the Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, made new commitments after President Bola Tinubu conferred a national honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, on him in Lagos State. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports.
The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, was instrumental to opening the gates in 2009, and since then, this philanthropist has been footing some bills in Nigeria. Under an administration striving to drastically turn around the health and social welfare sector, the relationship of about 16 years was going to get bigger. In those past years, the Gates Foundation has reportedly contributed about $2 billion in Nigeria's health, digital innovation, agriculture, and financial inclusion. In the country's journey towards eradicating wild poliovirus, the Gates Foundation was equally a huge partner. And this is President Tinubu's way of saying thank you to the man that has opened his philanthropic gates to pay humanitarian bills in the country for close to 2 decades. Bill Gates is now a commander of the Order of the Federal Republic in Nigeria.
All I need to say is thank you, Bill Gates, for your indivisible commitment to humanity. It is highly remarkable. It's an inspiration to leadership across the world, including the one standing before you. I thank you very much.
And even as he acknowledged dwindling resources in support of AIDS across the world, Gates is hoping to invest $200 billion more globally in various sectors in the next 20 years. In addition to health, he says digital innovation and capacity development of youth in Nigeria are part of his plan.
I'm totally dedicated over the next 20 years to finishing the job, whether it's building up the data systems, getting the vaccines out to all the children, getting solutions for malnutrition that not only is responsible for a lot of deaths, but also cuts off the potential of the children who suffer from malnutrition. Some of our goals may seem very ambitious. For example, during the next 20 years, we do hope to completely eradicate malaria. And
20 years is very conservative, but we work very, very hard. I'm the malaria ambassador, and then both me and Bill were members of the Malaria Global Board. So we are working very, very hard, and I'm sure there will be, a headway where we'll achieve this less than 20 years.
The President's leadership, his political commitment to really provide those resources. If all the state governors provide more resources to treat malaria, to provide the drugs, to provide bed nets, to do the campaigns, I think Nigeria will see a lot of progress.
The government of President Tinubu says it will continue to leverage global and domestic partnerships in developing sectors of the economy. In Lagos, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts says more than 300 billion naira of public expenditure remains unaccounted for across 60 ministries, departments and agencies of government that have not yet aligned to establish financial management standards. Chairman of the committee, Bamidele Salam disclosed this at a briefing ahead of a national conference on public accounts and fiscal governance expected to chart a new course for transparency and sustainable development.
It is expected that at the end of the conference, we'll have very significant reduction in violations of financial regulations and laws, as well as deepen our transparent system in public procurement and expenditure at all levels. There are quite a lot of gaps. But like I've said, we should also realize that there are movements towards closing those gaps. And one of the movements towards closing the gaps is in the area of reform. So regardless of what you say, there will never be anything again like a fuel subsidy scam in Nigeria. Because the source of that scam has been taken away. There is even no subsidy again. So when you close some of those gaps, you also achieve a certain degree of reducing, the propensity of people to, do all manner of things untoward with public resources.
The committee is advocating harmonization of national and subnational laws to integrate modern anti-corruption technologies and financial regulations and institute transparency and accountability as core national values. Now, the federal government has pledged robust communication and advocacy support for the upcoming nationwide measles rubella vaccination campaign, which is scheduled for October 2025. This is from the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, when he received the Center for Well-Being and Integrated Nutrition Solutions in Abuja. Correspondent Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara will bring us the report in subsequent bulletins. The Federal Road Safety Corps has launched its Salah Special Patrol Operations, deploying 36,000 personnel and 750 patrol vehicles from June 5th to 11th, 2025. The initiative aims to ensure smooth traffic flow, provide prompt rescue services and clear road obstructions nationwide during the festive season. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
As Salah approaches, Nigeria's roads are buzzing with activities. Across the country, people are moving from cities to hometowns, from work to worship, all in the spirit of celebration. And with the increased movement comes increased responsibilities, especially at the parks and motor terminals.
All our members have been warned, more importantly, not to drink while driving or work under stress.
Another thing we're also advising them not to do is distracted driving. That is, using porn while driving, either testing while driving, eating while driving, drinking while driving. All those things, we don't condone it. We really want to enforce this time around.
With its full deployment of manpower and logistics, the Corps is putting special focus on dangerous driving and overtaking, overloading, use of phones while driving, excessive speed, lane indiscipline and route violation, amongst others. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has directed the reconstruction of bridges destroyed by the recent flood in Mokwa, Niger State, to restore connectivity between the north and southern parts of the country. This decision follows an on-the-spot assessment by Minister of State for Works, Bello Goroyo, who visited the area to commiserate with the people of the affected communities. Fatima Aliyu has an update.
Following the devastating flood in Mokwa local government area of Niger State, Minister of State for Works, Bello Mohammed Goroyo, visited the scene on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive. The flood destroyed bridges connecting the north and southern parts of the country, causing hardship for motorists and disrupting transportation of goods. The minister assessed the damage and assured that the federal government will reconstruct the bridges to restore access.
This is a very important economic corridor. The renewed hope agenda under President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is try to see that we build the infrastructure so that our economic potentials can be unlocked So we be rest assured, as soon as possible, we'll come with a design and rebuild the bridge so that people will have easy access and safer travels.
Going further, the traditional institution, the local government authority, must act as a responsible government to ensure they enforce people to be mindful of disasters prompt areas.
In the meantime, interim repairs are ongoing to mitigate economic impact. Fatima Aliyu, NTA News.
As the sacred festival of Eid AlAdha approaches, the need for Muslims to embrace the occasion as an opportunity to obey Almighty Allah and seek His favor regardless of economic circumstances has been stressed. Abdullahi Umar Ilalu takes a look at the true essence of Eid, which lies not in the ritual of sacrifice alone, but in the spirit of devotion, humility, and charity.
Eid al-Adha is about total submission to Allah, just as Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam demonstrated. Sacrificing an animal is a symbol of that obedience. But more importantly, it is about the intention, sincerity, and willingness to give for the sake of Allah.
In another tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, of each and every skin that is there on the sacrificial animal is what, if you can count it, is equivalent to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you of a reward.
A visit to Kara Market, the main livestock hub in Sokoto metropolis, revealed a different reality. The market, often bustling with activity during this season, appeared relatively quiet. While animals such as rams, goats, cows, and camels were in good supply, the number of buyers remained low. As preparations continue, residents of Sokoto are expected to gather for the Eid prayers, share meals with loved ones, and offer what they can to the underprivileged in the spirit of the festival. In Sokoto, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
Let's link up with Usman Mohammed Benji in Sokoto to tell us more on the true essence of this celebration. Usman, bring us up to speed on the essence.
You are welcome to Sokoto, the seat of the Caliphate. Of course, as you rightly have seen it in the background report, preparations are in top gear as Muslims will celebrate or observe Eid al-Adha 2025 in the next 48 hours. Of course, Eid al-Adha originated from the time of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to sacrifice his son Ismail. But as he obeyed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replaced the son with a ram. The Eid al-Adha has a spiritual meaning, and together with me to shed light on that is a senior lecturer with the Department of Islamic Studies, Shehu Shagaru University of Education, Sokoto, Dr. Muhammad Abdullahi. Dr. Gulam, it's good to have you here. I want to ask you, what are the significance of Eid al-Adha?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the first instance, what Muslims need to understand with regard to the Eid al-Adha is, number one, celebrating one of the symbolic natures of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, as you rightly said in the background. And the number two, to also emulate the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who also practicalized something and ordered his followers and adherents to also do the same thing. So it is invariably to say that, one, we give gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and number two, to also show our humility and humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for, emancipating us. Otherwise it will have been another story entirely. And to also show that, okay, human beings are supposed to be loyal and disciplined and also respectful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inasmuch as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have putting his beloved Prophet Abraham onto trial, and his son to have accepted the same offer by saying that, go ahead, my father, and accomplish the task or command you are given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any objection. Then each and every one of us also need to follow the same suit by, observing the rights of the Eid al-Adha, so that we will also show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for saving us from being slaughtered. If not, then the story, like I said from the beginning, will have been either you and I now that is going to be on the line to be slaughtered by our own parent or others that might have even come. But alhamdulillah.
Okay, what are the type of animals that are Muslims expected to sacrifice?
There are 4 domestic types of animals that a Muslim can sacrifice out of them to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 1, we have the small sheep, like the lambs and also the goats. Then 2, we have the rams. And then we have 3, the cows, and the calves and cows. And then we have 4, the camels.
Okay, finally, if I will ask you the general message of Eid al-Adha.
The general message of Eid al-Adha to the entire humanity is that it shows the symbolic nature of a Muslim coming together to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the same time to give gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to show humbleness and humanity, to also show their moral respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to also show, how do I say, assistance, and offer assistance to others by showing kindness and piety to others, so that they will also extend the joy to others, not they alone, because it is a time of festivity, a time to enjoy, a time to give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. That is what we can take from Sokoto. Thank you very much for joining us.
And of course, thanks so much for your contribution, Usman Muhammad Benjir there in Sokoto. Insightful contribution. From the seat of Caliphate, we go to the Center of Excellence, and Awal is our guide from our Lagos Network Center.
Thank you, Ayo, for joining us in Lagos. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has reviewed and addressed its performance gaps, optimizing workforce potential, ensuring optimal satisfaction, organizational productivity, as well as cultivating self-motivated employees. Adiola Komi Akere reports that the Director General, CEO, Engineer Abishoy Koka Udushote, said the Commission has the largest database in Africa till date and is now playing catch-up to the rest of the world.
Saddled with the responsibility to establish, own, operate, maintain, and manage the country's identity database to foster the orderly development of an identity sector, issue unique national identification numbers to qualified citizens and legal residents, the Director General of NIMC says deliberate efforts are on to harmonize data gaps that are present, and with Africa looking up to Nigeria in this regard, it behoves on the Commission not to disappoint.
We decided to build an application called the Name Auth, basically for authentication purposes, which will allow the individual to have total control and access over their own data.
The enrollment, harmonization, and integration of data across all agencies and increased public and private sectors' participation in using the NIN as the foundational data for identification was presented by Dr. Alva Nikoku.
Nigerians can very well expect very good things that will bring about ease of doing business. It matters a great deal, and also would impact on the 8-point presidential priorities.
To point the face of management in the direction of modern day strategy options.
And with this retreat, the Commission is promising all Nigerians and government institutions of a reliable ally in terms of data protection and management. In Lagos, Adiola Komiakere, NTA News.
From NIMC, we move to the customs. About 1,507 jerry cans of premium motor spirit have been seized by operatives of Operation Whirlwind from smugglers around flashpoint areas between Lagos and Ogun Axis. Amaka O reports that the products, which were made public in Lagos, has a cumulative value of over 63 billion naira.
You can imagine. The team from the Operation Whirlwind have recorded another significant progress of seizures since the first quarter of 2025 till date, with the most recent success story for operatives, which is the interception of activities of smugglers within the southwest zone. The seized items constitute 1,577 jerry cans of premium motor spirit, 25 liters each, valued at 39 million 1,425,000 naira, excluding the cost of the 8 vehicles used for conveyance. Representative of the Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs Service, National Coordinator Well-Wind, says the move is in line with the leadership of the Nigeria Customs Service drive to drastically clamp down on activities of smugglers.
The more they change, the more we get them. Because when we started, it was not like this. They keep changing and we change even before they get there, we are there for them. And I want to say something that it is not quite easy for someone to be able to arrest this quantum of PMS products that is combustible. We will take control of the means of conveyance to anyone court who have taken to court. Like I said, we are prosecuting some men in the court right now.
The seizures authorities of the Nigeria Customs Service say is a giant stride and was achieved as a result of the synergy between the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and the Nigeria Customs Service. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide will continue in Ibado after this timeout. Don't go away.
You're still watching Nationwide, and it's good to welcome you to Ibado. The significant decline in forest cover across the country calls for collective effort in revamping and restoring forest reserves. This came to the fore at a sensitization and awareness on sustainable forest management organized by the National Forest Trust Fund for stakeholders in Oyo State. Here is the report.
As part of efforts by the federal government to balance the equilibrium between biodiversity and socioeconomic function of the forest amidst climate change and other harmful human practices, the National Forestry Trust Fund was put in place to raise and monitor funds for afforestation and reforestation across the country.
We have conveyed our message to the general public that it is very important to plant trees, and it is a big error to be destroying trees without planting trees.
The timber traders and the timber loggers have an association here, and they're already coming together, to enforce afforestation, which is a very, very good development for the state.
Stakeholders who spoke at the forum were unanimous in the view that government cannot do it alone, especially in the face of dwindling forest income and resources. They also commended the initiative as a timely call.
25% of revenue generated from lawful and rational exploitation of forest resources should be deposited for the execution of reforestation projects.
While dignitaries at the event performed the symbolic tree planting exercise, the National Forestry Trust Fund harps on better collaboration with Oyo State government and other key players in the sector.
Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has warned that it will not condone substandards by manufacturers, urging them to adhere strictly to quality in the production of goods to conform with local as well as international best practices. This was the message at the presentation of Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program certificate to manufacturers in Ibado. Lukman Hassan tells us more.
To continue promoting consumer safety and satisfaction, Standard Organization of Nigeria believes that producers must adhere to product standards. The Oyo State Coordinator, Standard Organization of Nigeria, Akobi Eitayo, noted that before the agency satisfies any product, such must be tested in any of the about 56 laboratories of the agency nationwide.
One cap to the company, we inspect the company on a quarterly basis and make sure they are still adhering to the requirement of the standard.
Want Nigeria to get value for their money
And we don't want the country to become a dumping ground within or from within or from outside.
Manufacturers of various products noted that they will not relent in ensuring that consumers get the maximum benefit from their products.
All the companies that are supposed to be registered under the SON for MANCAP certification to do so, because it actually helps the quality and the marketability of a product.
Advise small-scale business people to allow SON to go into their product, because why? It will help them.
We maintain our dignity. We maintain the quality of our products. We will not disappoint SON.
The Oyo State Standard Organization of Nigeria presented the Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program MANCAP certificate to 44 manufacturers whose products have been confirmed and tested to be okay for both local and international consumers. In Ibado, Lukman Hassan, NTA News.
And that is it from Ibado. Nationwide continues as we rejoin Ayodeji Makinde in Abuja.
Thanks so much, Kemi, in our Ibado Network Center. In a significant shift on the global diplomatic stage, Nigeria has officially joined the founding members of a newly created international body focused on peaceful conflict resolution. Diplomatic correspondent Patricia Luba reports that the Convention on the Establishment of the International Organization for Mediation was signed on the 30th of May 2025, a historic day in the evolution of global diplomacy.
Formally launched in Hong Kong, IOMED is designed to offer a voluntary, confidential, and non-confrontational alternative to traditional legal systems such as the International Court of Justice. Initiated by China and endorsed by over 30 nations, IOMED is built on three fundamental pillars: facilitating cross-border mediation, building national and institutional capacity for peaceful conflict resolution, and promoting a global culture of dialogue rather than division. Nigeria's participation is not just symbolic, but it reflects the long-standing leadership.
Mediation is one of the dispute settlement mechanisms established in the Charter of the United Nations, and the establishment of this organization is not only fulfillment of the Charter principles, but an implementation of those principles of the Charter.
It's a good step for Nigeria in global diplomacy.
The new body will truly remain neutral, but proponents argue that the demand for accessible, culturally sensitive, and less adversarial mechanisms is growing, especially among nations of this global south. From Hong Kong, Patricia Luba reporting.
2 years of excellent performance. A group on the platform of the governing All Progressives Congress has thrown weight behind President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and welcomed the inclusivity and fairness in position sharing. This came to the fore during the visit of the group to the national women leader of the party, Dr. Mary Alile, to seek for a level playing group and ground ahead of February 2026 scheduled APC FCT Area Council primary election.
So Mr. President's leadership inspires hope for all of us, inclusivity for all of us. As individuals, as party women, we are hopeful. On behalf of the courageous women that have come out, that we should allow talented and capable women to represent our party and others.
Help us tell Mr. President that your women are ready, that we have gone to study the grassroots.
We are pleading and we are soliciting that our voice should be heard this time around.
The group also commended Nigeria's First Lady for initiating various empowerment programs and pledged to introduce more that will promote gender inclusion and development across boards. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, says it is poised to mobilize grassroots support to ensure victory of the party in the forthcoming Anambra State governorship election. This is coming as the party presents certificate of return to its governorship candidate, John Chuma Nwosu, who will bear the party's flag. The event marks a significant milestone in the build-up to the governorship election, with party stakeholders rallying round Nwosu. ADC governorship candidate John Chuma Nwosu expresses optimism that the party will win the election as it solicits support of party members.
We are not going to compromise on principles. All party men and women will be ready to make their own input. I can assure you this election we are going to win.
We must encourage the conventional security system, empower the conventional security, pay them well. But most importantly, what I will bring in is technology, using artificial intelligence across the major cities of Anambra State. I am in the race to win. I'm not here to answer them. I have all it takes to win the election.
He pledged to run a campaign that would engage all stakeholders and promote the interest of Anambra State. He also outlines his vision for the state's development, focusing on key areas such as infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Elsewhere, in a decisive move to shift Nigeria's renewable energy agenda from policy to practical implementation, stakeholders converged on Oshogbo, Osun State for a regional round table to accelerate clean energy access across the southwest zone. Femi Afariogun has details.
This post-conference roundtable with the theme From Vision to Action, localizing Nigeria's renewable energy legislative agenda, is enacting move from policy to practical solutions on how the southwest region can approach clean energy. Osun State Governor, represented by his deputy, Kola Adewusi, announced that the state will unveil climate-smart investment portfolio designed to attract responsible capital into renewable energy.
From Lagos to Ekiti, Ogun to Ondo, we must collaborate, legislate, and invest together.
We now have the institutional awareness that renewable energy is not a luxury, it is a necessity.
Chairman of the House Committee on Renewable Energy, Honorable Afam Ogene, said the House adopted a resolution mandating government ministries, departments, agencies, and institutions to transition to renewable energy source for their power needs.
The House of Representatives is currently working on legislation to support green job development and employment opportunities, particularly for youth and women across the nation.
The two-day roundtable featured various sessions on clean energy landscape, all geared to end energy poverty and climate vulnerability in southwest Nigeria. In Oshogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
All right, Kayode Oladoshu, also in Oshogbo, and now joins me to give us insight on the gathering of these experts, particularly on renewable energy for the southwest zone. Kayode, tell us what has been coming up from that particular convergence.
Thank you, Ayodeji. The roundtable on renewable energy is one that could shape the future of energy access, climate resilience, and sustainable development across southwest Nigeria. The program is showcasing that the southwest, enriched with sunlight, wind, and innovation, is now ready to stop talking about renewable energy and start building the laws, infrastructure, and partnership to power the region clearly and fairly. Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State, in his message at the program, put it plainly that the roundtable is a defining moment with communities still stuck in energy poverty despite abundant resources. Osun government used the opportunity of the roundtable to unveiling that it calls a climate-smart investment portfolio and renewable energy policy draft. This will be a form of design to attract green capital and building energy inclusion. So the governor also launched the Imole Solar Lantern in that project, promising one child, one lantern, which is a symbolic and practical solution to last mile energy access. But in that program, it's not all about the executive. As members of the House Committee on Renewable Energy participate fully in the discussion, the chairman of House Committee on Renewable Energy, Afam Ogene, said their committee is looking at proper sensitization of Nigerians that renewable energy is beyond solar panels, but has to do with waste. He said the program starting here in the southwest will be taken to all geopolitical zones across the country. He recognized that solely rely on electricity have to reduce, saying the majority of Nigeria are the grassroots, and part of the ways to reach them is through program like this, which occurred here in Osun State. So with this program, there is expectation that each state House of Assembly in Southwest will enact laws to favor renewable energy that will contribute to power generation. Not only in the Southwest, with this ball has been set rolling, it is now for states in the Southwest and all over the country to invest and let fully into renewable energy, which is described to be clean and sustainable. This project will be in other geopolitical zones as time goes on.
Well, elaborate contribution from Oshogbo there, Femi. I'd like to thank you for letting us know how many more people are getting to embrace renewable energy there as alternative to power generation and the rest. Thanks for your time. All right. President Bola Tinubu congratulates Chief Onyi Jolayemi, a prominent industrialist and business icon, on his 85th birthday. President Tinubu highlights Jolayemi's grass-to-grace story and eventual rise to the zenith, saying his life is a testament to hard work, industry, and resilience that the younger generation should emulate. The president commends Jolayemi's commitments to contributions to Nigeria's economic development, including his efforts to provide employment opportunities to young people and his belief in the country's renaissance. The celebrant is a successful entrepreneur with several decades of business experience, and he is the founder and chairman of indigenous conglomerate Daily Need Group of Companies. Jenny in our Port Harcourt Network Center has the next set of reports on Nationwide. Jenny, take it from here.
So much, Ayo. In a bid to promote road safety and enhance standards of driving across the country, the Federal Road Safety Corps has convened a national workshop for driving school proprietors and instructors. The training has the theme Entrenching Highway Safety in Nigeria through standardized drivers and riders training. Gabriel Amunike has the details.
Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC is taking fresh steps to improve road safety in Nigeria by standardizing driver and rider training as the 2025 National Workshop for Driving School Proprietors and Instructors holds in Rivers State. With the theme Entrenching Highway Safety in Nigeria through standardized drivers and riders training, the workshop attracted participants from across the country. At the technical session, stakeholders emphasized the critical role of proper driver education in reducing road crashes and enhancing compliance with traffic laws.
When we build capacity, even without road signs, when you see the nature of the road, you don't wait for anybody to tell you not to go on very high speed. That's why training and retraining is very, very important.
You see a lot of drivers on the road who are not really trained. So please, I want to plead to every one of us that we should not compromise.
Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Corps Marshal Etim Iyang Umo, stressed that substandard driving education remains a major threat to public safety.
When the foundation is faulty, there is nothing the society can do. And so that is why FRSC always being at the forefront when it comes to driving culture in Nigeria.
Participants emphasized that sustainable road safety can only be achieved through strict enforcement, quality training, and consistent regulation of driving school operations. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amunike, NTA News.
Fire outbreaks always come with a cost, loss of lives, property, and economic hardship for victims. Observers say inadequate safety measures can lead to fire outbreaks in homes and other sensitive places. Nkiru Onyejesi reports.
Port Harcourt in recent times has experienced a number of fire outbreaks. These are caused by various factors, mainly human error, electrical faults, equipment failure, and poor maintenance, among other factors. Stakeholders say adherence to safety measures and guidelines by residents and business owners could go a long way in averting fire incidents.
There are some major areas that we are facing major problems that is becoming a threat to the state in general. Just as the incident, the gas explosion incident happened at the NAF base, the filling station. Now you look at it, a filling station is sharing fence with residential buildings. But if this filling station is on the required meters of the major road, the effect will not affect a moving car that is passing by that road.
The mistake we often make is we keep the jerrycan of the fuel close to the generator, especially towards the exhaust side. We should avoid that.
They are of the view that residents and fuel station operators could reduce the risks of disaster by understanding what can ignite fire and taking proactive measures.
In a place like that, I think there should be fire awareness. Awareness should be created amongst the staff of the station. And they should have the basic things to use to control fire.
You have a fire extinguisher. You can start from that. I think this time around, everybody needs to be security for himself.
They urge relevant authorities to step up effort to enforce safety regulations and provide support to the State Fire Service for more effective and efficient emergency response. In Port Harcourt, Nkiru Onyejesi, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Port Harcourt. Nationwide will continue in Benin after this break.
Good afternoon, you're welcome. This is Nationwide NTA Benin Network Center. Attorneys General of South states have been charged to assist their various state governments to ensure that corruption, which is becoming a culture in Nigeria, ceases to flourish. The chairman, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission ICPC, Adamu Musa Aliyu, gave the charge at the Commission's conference with Attorney Generals of South states held in Asaba. Godfrey Nzekwe reports.
Corruption has been identified as a major challenge facing Nigeria by meeting every aspect of national life. To address this issue, a seminar was organized with the theme Institutional Integrity and Regional Cooperation, the role of Attorneys General in advancing a corrupt-free South-South.
Emphasize the importance of synergy and collaboration between ICPC and Attorneys General in corruption prevention.
So what we are doing in Delta State is to try and create that culture of, a fight against corruption. Everybody here is united.
Special guest of honor, former Attorney General of the Federation, Kanu Agabisan, emphasized the need for decisive measures to combat corruption, which has infiltrated all sectors, including the media.
Corruption has permeated every department of our national life. Besides in cooks, in stewards, in drivers, in mechanics, in ministers, in legislators, it is everywhere, and it is our duty to eliminate it.
Former Attorney General of Akwa Ibom, Uwemedino Nwoko, delivered a keynote address on the role of Attorneys General in promoting corrupt-free governance in the South states.
Are we hoping to interrogate the issues and profess strategies to meet the ever-changing dynamics of corrupt practices in Nigeria, or at least in the South?
The seminar also featured interactive session between the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and Attorney Generals from the South states, where new ideas for tackling corruption were explored. A communique was presented at the end of the program. The initiative is expected to be replicated in other regions. In Asaba, Godfrey Nzekwe, NTA News.
The need for people to always enhance preparedness and response against all forms of disaster for a better society is the focus of a stakeholders flood and disaster management meeting in Ekiti. The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Umar, stated this during the flag-off of the 2025 Flood National Preparedness and Response Campaign in Ado-Ekiti. Olukemi Sani reports.
The downscaling initiative with the theme Strengthening Resilience, Enhancing Preparedness and Response is government's approach through the National Emergency Management Agency to sensitize the public using all available mediums to reach communities at risk of the 2025 flood predictions.
This has been deployed further to sensitize communities, local government areas and states that are likely to be impacted by flooding on how to act and live with it when it eventually happens. It is our hope that this exercise will achieve the purpose it was meant for, especially for people of Ekiti State.
I urge every one of us to be a change agent by sensitizing our people on what can predispose our environment to flooding.
Ekiti State Deputy Governor Munisa Deafuye said the state government will continue to work out modalities to prevent all forms of disasters in Ekiti State and to demolish houses built on waterways across the state to avoid flooding.
My special appeal goes to all the local governments and SCJ chairmen to move around their various SCJs and local governments and take proactive measures in areas that are likely to be affected by flood in their respective local governments and SCDA to prevent the occurrences.
The initiative was also taken to the palace of Ogogav Ikere Ekiti to sensitize local residents on preparedness and response to flood incidents, first aid and fire disasters. In Ado-Ekiti, Olukemi Sani, NTA News.
That's it from Benin. We'll rejoin Ayodeji for the continuation of Nationwide. Ayos, back to you.
Thanks, Anwuli. It's a bit of security matters. In a major breakthrough in the fight against terrorism, tactical teams of the Department of State Services, DSS, backed by the Nigerian military, have killed no fewer than 45 bandits in a stealth operation around Kuchi town in Monia local government area of Niger State. The raid, carried out with surgical precision, reportedly foiled a planned large-scale assault by notorious bandit leader Dogo Gide and his loyalists. In the statement, the DSS confirms it tracked the movements of over 100 armed bandits advancing from Zamfara and Kaduna states to launch coordinated attacks on several communities in the area. Acting swiftly, operatives ambushed the attackers on the outskirts of Kuchi town, leading to a fierce gunfight that left many dead and others injured. The operation also led to the recovery of sophisticated weapons and motorcycles. However, 5 DSS operatives sustained serious injuries and are currently receiving treatment. The success brings relief to residents of Monya local government area who have long suffered under the siege of banditry. Elsewhere, in a joint operation to dismantle criminal networks and safeguarding public health, troops of Operation Udoka, in conjunction with the National Agency for Food, Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, have seized fake and substandard drugs valued at 1 trillion naira across major drug markets in the southeast and other parts of the country. NAFDAC Director, Southeast Zone, Dr. Iluyomade Martins, announced the seizure while briefing defense correspondents at the military cantonment in Onitsha, noting that more than 100 trailers loaded with substandard pharmaceuticals were intercepted during the month-long exercise.
In the success of that operation. That operation lasted for a month on the field, and we moved more than 100 trailers of fake and substandard medicines from the various markets, let me say, basically from the southeast, that were removed. A lot of the things we also recover from there are narcotics that fuel insecurity and all of this. If you remove the fueling of insecurity, you know that you have done 50% of the work that has to be done.
Defense correspondent Ismail Musa on the Defense Media Operations Tour reports that the manhunts were executed simultaneously in Onitsha, Lagos and Aba, with the Nigerian Army playing a critical role. And that's nationwide. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'm Ayodeji Makinde for all of us here in Abuja. And the rest of your evening, bye-bye.